there is a brand new leverage ETF that I'm very excited to talk about because it solves a big problem in index investing and investing in leverage ETFs. So the thing is that so far, Nasdaq-100 ETFs such as the QQQ, the QLD, 2x leverage, and the TQQQ, the 3x leverage, they actually invest in a very small number of companies. And now you might be like, Henry, what are you talking about? Aren't Nasdaq-100 ETFs supposed to invest in 100 companies? Well, kinda, because they invest in these companies according to the size of their market cap. They give the weight according to the size of the market cap. So did you know that actually when you are investing in Nasdaq-100 ETFs, you're supposed to have a basket of 100 companies, but the top 10 companies weight 40%. So the top 10 companies, NVIDIA, Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Micron, AMD, Broadcom, Alphabet, and Meta, they weight 40%. So when you use a leverage ETF such as the TQQQ, you are leveraging 3x, actually a small number of companies. While the bottom 10 companies in the Nasdaq-100, do you know what's their weight? 1% only, okay? So the solution is equally weighted ETFs. Equally weighted ETFs, they have been performing very well, especially in downturn markets, in bear markets. So today I'm bringing you a brand new leverage ETF that can be better for the long term, can be better in case of bear markets and crashes. Very excited to bring this to you. Let's get into it. Alright guys, my name is Henry. Welcome to my channel. Grab a coffee, because we are about to talk about a very cool brand new leverage ETF that can be great for long-term holding and also can be great to protect you in case there is a crash or a market downturn. And let's jump on the screen. The ETF I'm talking about is the ProShares EQQQ Ultra QQQ Equal Weight. And what this ETF gives us is 2x exposure to Nasdaq-100 equally weighted. So, you know, as I said before, the top 10 companies on Nasdaq-100 are weighted 40%. But in this case, each company has the same weight. 100 companies, each one of them will have 1% weight in the index. So this is the biggest advantage. It gives you true diversification across the 100 companies in the Nasdaq-100. So this ETF will give you 2x leverage, rebalanced daily, so it's 2x constant leverage, which is great. The expense ratio is at 0.95, which is aligned with the majority of leverage ETFs that range usually from 0.8 to 0.9 or 1% expense ratio. And as you can read here in the datasheet from ProShares, it gives you greater diversification. By equally weighting the Nasdaq, EQQQ lowers mega cap concentration and tilts towards smaller companies in the index, which is something that we might want sometimes to get better diversification. And in practice, how can this impact your portfolio? Well, 2022 was a pretty rough bear market, right? Let's jump again here on the chart and let's see what am I talking about. So 2022, as you can see here on the chart, for example, for this specific period, the QQQ, the normal Nasdaq-100 ETF, went down by 10%, while the QQQE went up 0.3%. So it was pretty much flat for this period. The QQQE is the Direction Nasdaq-100 equally weighted ETF. So it's a regular, non-leveraged, equally weighted ETF, while the QQQ is also a non-leveraged version, right? And what we observe is that while QQQ went down by 10% because the big companies had a larger drawdowns and dragged QQQ lower, the QQQE, the equally weighted, was pretty much flat. So you can see here that actually equally weighted ETF can give you some downside protection. The same for the S&P 500. S&P 500, you have SPY or VOO, which are the normal ETFs, and you have, for example, RSP, which is the equally weighted S&P 500. And if you want to get the 2x leverage, you have URSP. And actually, recently, I've been increasing my exposure to URSP, to the equally weighted S&P 500. But so far, we couldn't do the same in Nasdaq. There was no equally weighted 2x leverage ETF, but now finally you have the ProShares EQQQ ETF, which gives you 2x leverage equally weighted. So what I might be doing in the future is, instead of simply dollar cost averaging only into QLD, the 2x leverage, or the TQQQ, the 3x leverage, I might also be dollar cost averaging into EQQQ, because it gives you better diversification, and in case there is a market crash, probably this ETF will behave a little bit better than the regular ETFs that have a lot of weight in the top 10 companies. In fact, this ProShares EQQQ ETF pays a dividend yield of 0.9%, which pretty much covers the expense ratio of the ETF. Alright guys, if you want to know everything about ETF and leverage ETF investing, join the Henrique Wealth Academy, link in the description, okay? Because I talk about this topic every single day. I have a ton of exclusive content for the members. I have a 5-hour-long course about leverage ETFs, another 5 or 6 hour long course about stock market investing. And if you join the community now, you have a 7-day free trial. You can take a look around, take the courses, and see if you want to stay or not. Because you can find a ton of good value there. And I also share my trade alerts, which are weekly trade alerts, and I have an 80% win rate. Anyway, guys, let me know in the comment section if you have any questions regarding the EQQQ, this brand new ETF. It's only a couple of weeks old, but it's from a legit ETF issuer. It's ProShares ETF, so it should gain more liquidity in the future. Probably it's just issued, so it doesn't have that much liquidity. But if you are a small retail investor, that shouldn't be an issue. Let me know if you have any questions. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Bye.